Okay, so here's the deal. I like speed. I like speeding around the woods on my bike. I like speeding after my little dog desperately trying to escape my wrath. I like speeding around the streets of Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. But here's the other thing. I'm pretty bad at most racing games. Don't get me wrong, I can crack any Mario Kart Wii ghost time you throw at me if I practice enough. And give me a race in Garfield Kart Furious Racing and I'd stomp that shit. Unless I get gar-karted, of course. But just generally speaking, I've never really been able to harness the power of speed in a virtual space. My eyes just keep focusing right in front of the car and not on the road ahead where they should be. I thought learning to drive in real life would help this problem, but now I'm just in jail for vehicular manslaughter. So maybe speed just isn't my thing, is what I thought to myself. Hey, I love snorting lines of it in real life, but maybe I just don't really get it in video games. How foolish I was. Let's talk about speedrunners. Speedrunners is an interesting game in that it will simultaneously tear your friend group apart and bring you closer together than you could possibly imagine. Like a war. You play as a little cartoon character called Hothead or Moonraker or Giancarlo Esposito, and your goal is to race around an enormous track against 3 other munchkins, dodging their attacks, trying to land your own attacks, and also figuring out the best racing lines to get from A to B as fast as possible. It's explosive and addictive. You've always got so much stuff to think about despite how simple the game seems on its surface.
Lord have mercy.
At any moment you could need to dodge a golden hook, duck a crate, jump over some spikes, or try desperately to catch up as your fucking quote-unquote friend hits you with another tackle. I hate the tackle. It's so petty that I think that when you get hit with it, you can legally call the person who hit you with the tackle any name you want, like Slime Boy or Cunt. There are so many ways your opponents can fuck with you, and because all the different items you can get have different signifiers, and many of them have to be reacted to in different ways, from having to jump over a steady straight beam coming from your enemy's yard, to outmaneuvering a homing missile, to even modulating your speed to avoid a pulse field or whatever you call this. Your mind is always on fire, and your senses are always sharpened to look for any signs to react to, but that's just reacting. In speedrunners you can dish it out just as well as you can take it, and oftentimes playing more offensively is actually advantageous. There is this constant push and pull of priorities between trying to defend your position and trying to advance on someone else's position. And this internal battle combined with the fact that the different powers interact and combine with each other, such as the pulse field being able to deflect a rolling magma ball, mean that there's no end to the wacky situations that could come up, and therefore no round's result is ever really set in stone, even at the very end. So therefore, you can never know what to expect in any game or even any round. So therefore, you're always a little frazzled little gamer goblin at every moment of the experience. You might think that being on edge like this for the entire time would just be exhausting, and that after a couple games you'd either need to go and hide in a sensory deprivation tank or smoke a Pineapple Express cross zoot just to recover. But it's not. It's actually invigorating. I remember the first time I ever played this game with my friends, the running joke the entire time is that we were always just going to do one more. We said it so casually, knowing full well that 3 hours later we'd still be shooting hook shots into each other's faces and glowing mad back shots. This video is not a metaphor for gay sex, I swear. But this invigoration is so enticing that the game actually steps it up as each round goes along. How? Well, the way you die is when you get pushed off screen because you couldn't keep up with the others. And when that happens, there's this huge explosion that envelopes the edges of the screen and slowly closes in on the characters, making the play area smaller and smaller until a point where there's barely enough room for 2 people. When the game goes into this state, the intensity is somehow heightened constantly as your margin of error gets smaller and smaller. Eventually you get to the point where even the smallest of mistakes or advantages could lead to the end of the round. Even the legendary tackle, which is the most minor of things earlier on, will kill you if you're not careful. If you get hit with a tackle that actually kills you and doesn't just inconvenience you in the most mild of ways, you can legally kill your opponent in real life with a shovel. Guess you're not respawning this time, bitch. Another thing I want to highlight are the levels themselves. Whenever I play Speedrunners, I either select the random level option in the menu, or I play single player mode, which basically cycles through the stages in a way that means you don't play just one stage too much. Now you might think that this doesn't give you the opportunity to master any given stage and actually lowers the skill ceiling of the game, but you're actually wrong. It's weird, you're like really stupid. Let's say you drove down the same road over and over again until you got it perfect. You memorized every corner and pothole and you knew the exact way to get from one end of the road to the other in the shortest time possible. Does that make you a good driver? Or does it just mean you're good at driving down that road? If you perfect that one road and then try and drive down a different road at the same speed, you will crash and die. Take it from me, to become a good driver, you need to become adaptable. Drive really fast on every kind of road. If someone witnesses you going illegal speeds, just run them over. What are they gonna do? Neighborhood watch my fucking bumper hit you in the face, moron. So in Speedrunners, you get the best experience if you play all the stages, so you can develop not your memory, but your reactivity and your ability to read and intuit where the map is going next. I would even recommend playing the user-generated levels, even though some of them are, sorry, but some of them are just really bad. But hey, they at least increase your appreciation for the good use levels and the actual levels. They increase your gamer hazard response time through practice, and any game that supports user-generated content is pretty cool in my opinion because it provides huge replay value and customization options. Speaking of customization, in Speedrunners it doesn't just stop with levels. Not only are the characters super expressive in their animation and stylization, but you can also add trails onto their movement, which you can customize to become anything in your wildest dreams. You can have the tail of a dragon and pretend to be the Jade Prince of Surukan. You can become a chain chomp and finally become the guy that caused me so much anguish when I was 10 years old playing Mario Kart Wii. Or you can... Speedrunners is a very special game because it gives me exactly what I want, speed. But it gives it to me in a way that doesn't just make my character run fast, it makes my brain run fast as well. It drilled a hole in my head and poured in Red Bull. Like Jeffrey Dahmer, but gnarly. Yeah, drugs are cool, but have you ever tried sitting still and staring at a screen, moving only the tips of your gaming fingies for hours on end, constantly insisting that you're close to the end of your gamer session, but knowing it'll still be hours before you even consider standing up and going outside? You might think that staring obsessively into the void of another imaginary reality is unhealthy and far worse than experiencing real life. And honestly, yeah. But real life takes energy, passion, commitment. Sometimes a lot of us could use the illusion of real vigor or vehemence without having to climb a mountain or run a 10k. And for that, Speedrunners is pretty cool. Works for me. Could work for you too.